This is about selling the wall. This is about me having a big idea that will help our country, the USA, get past a situation we've been stuck in for far too long. I don't like being stuck, and I think it's okay to have a big idea every now and then. If you think you're coming up with a big idea, or a few of them, every day, that's not a good sign. Of course, we're constantly cooking up little ideas, like, I have a stone in my shoe, or I should brush my teeth, or she looks good, or you drive for show, and you putt for dough. The occasion for my big idea was a little trip my wife and I took last weekend. A getaway. We went to a state park and we stayed in the lodge. These are great because you can do lots of hiking, there's plenty of time to sit and read, and when you put down the book and look out the window, there's forests, mountains, and lakes, very scenic. They situate the lodges nicely, and almost every lodge has a good swimming pool. Usually my wife and I are the only ones in the pool, or nearly so. But that was not the case this time. In fact, on our second visit to the pool, a large bearded man exited through the doorway, and he looked at us, shook his head, and said, "You might want to rethink this. It's pretty scary in there." He was followed closely by another big young man who was also shaking his head, and he said, "I think there are 2 birthday parties going on in there. Be careful." We had to see this for ourselves. So we opened the door and were met with a solid wall of shrieking kids. You know how they scream when there are a lot of them, high on sugar, and the adults have given up? That's what we've heard, and the pool was filled with them, with others jumping in every second. We decided to pass on the pool. We went outside and walked down to the lake. Other states have lakes. We dam rivers and get huge mud puddles. It's not the same, but they call it a lake. From the edge of the brown water, we could look back up at the lodge. The hillside was buttressed in several places by great stone walls, built of massive stones and cement, with drainage tubes at the bottom. The lodge also had about 8 feet of stone facing. It was all very formidable and impressive. My wife said the walls looked old. I agreed and said it reminded me of walls near our home built during the Depression by New Deal work crews with names like WPA and CCC, one of FDR's schemes to work our way out of the Great Depression. And that's when I got my big idea. It was the walls that pushed me to it. There's a lot of talk about walls right now, walls on our southern border to try to limit the number of illegal immigrants and the steady flow of drugs. The walls are very controversial, and our president, Donald Trump, the trumpet, does everything he can to fan the fires. He's an example, by the way, of someone who thinks they're having several big ideas every day. Whenever he talks about the wall and its opponents, he employs a sneering sarcasm, he tries to humiliate, he resorts to fear with talk of an invasion, and in general he makes it impossible for anyone to have a rational or productive discussion about the wall. I'm not in favor of the wall, but I think I could sell it. That's my big idea, the one I got while I was thinking about walls and the New Deal. If I were trying to promote that project, I would talk about hiring crews that would build the wall. The wall itself would be manufactured in this country, and that's more jobs right there. And the people who built it, that's more jobs. It's a very big project, sort of like a horizontal dam, so there are many jobs created, a boom in employment. After the wall goes up, just like the New Deal, I hire artists to make it into a magnificent work that people all over the planet would come to see. Remember Christo the artist wrapping up parliamentary buildings and acreage, running fabric fences for miles? This would be a permanent Christo. I would assign a section of the wall to an artist, and they would paint a mural or tag it with spray paint, make a collage or a sculpture, maybe portraits or landscapes, abstract, whatever. The point is that the wall would be more, much more than just a wall. It would be something we could be proud of, not ashamed. It would be a wonder of the world. Anyway, that was my big idea.